we had a support zone over here. So for those who can understand, this was my entry, right? What's going on here? What can you see? So we have a green candle. So candles themselves don't mean anything. Patterns themselves don't mean anything, right? None of these concepts you use mean anything, right? It only depends on the context inside the candles, or the order flow inside the candles more specifically. So if this is the candle that we're dealing with, right? We're dealing with this candle, right? What was going on here? So what we can see here again is red delta, right? 87 for 2, 204 for 144. We see a lot of aggressive selling, but the market breaks higher, right? Aggressive selling, what I've circled, but the market breaks higher. That's the image you see over here. So if you look at ES, for example, 67.45, what was going on? Massive seller absorption, right? Here, sellers were absorbed. Sellers were absorbed, right? Because if we're breaking above the key level here, right? If we're breaking above the key level like this, or like this, you need to understand that sellers did not win, because they would have driven price below the zone, right? We broke above the zone. So you got to understand sellers were absorbed, sellers were unsuccessful, right? This is what you want to understand. Sellers were unsuccessful in their attempt to break the markets higher, right? And that is the reason we went lower, right? So 67.40 ES traders, go back test that, right? Go and back test that, right? You need to specifically go and back test that. And so that is how sort of the, Friday went. It wasn't great price action overall. I was happy with the trades. My execution, my management could have been a little bit better, right? Because the market kept rejecting just before my target. So it's one of those things. So holding a trade like this, for traders who have tried to hold, holding trades like this is quite a difficult thing. Nobody wants to be in trades that look like this, right? You want to enter here, you want to exit here, 17-minute trade, you're done with your day, right? But the markets are not always like that, right? The markets are choppy, right? They can be choppy, right? So again, the theory that I had upon reflection, if you think about the way that I was trying to trade, something I mentioned earlier on, I wanted price to go all the way up here because the weekly opening price was here. So another thing you can go and back test, right? Go and back test the weekly opening price. The markets go long below the weekly opening price, typically on Friday after a bearish week, right? ES, NQ, even the Forex markets, go and back test this, right? One of the most fundamental things you can do as a trader is understanding the weekly opening price, right? As well as the absorption. But yeah, that's what I wanted to go through on Friday. That was sort of the trades that I was looking at, and I'm glad I got out when I did, because the markets continue to dump, bear